video, we will be doing nodal analysis with the dependent source. Same thing, we start with V1, we label a node, I'm going to say V1 is there, and then I can see over here that up here is going to be 12 volts due to this power source, and down here is going to be 0 volts. So here is going to be 0 volts, and here is going to be 0 volts. We want to now find Vx to see what would be up here. So I will say that going right positive minus negative, Vx equals 12 minus V1. So this node equals 2 times 12 minus V1. And that would be up here. And now starting with V1, going to 12 volts, I can see that the equation for the KCL, the current would be V1 minus 12 over 1. The equation for V1 to ground would be plus V1 minus 0 over 2. And then the equation from V1 to this dependent source would be plus 2, 12 minus V1 would be V1 minus 2, 12 minus V1 over 1 equals 0. And then to simplify, we would get a V1 over 2 equals 36 volts. Don't forget the reason why we end up getting only a V1 over 2 is because the V1 would cancel out due to this and this. So our V1 ends up being 72 volts. And since we're trying to find the I naught over here, we get I naught equals V1 minus 0 over 2. So 72 over 2, and we get 36 volts for 36 milliamps for I naught. Now, again, same thing. We choose our nodes. I'm going to say up here will be V1. And I will say that this node over here will be V2. And I can already see that there is a voltage source. So over here is going to be 12. Over here is going to be 0 volts. And so 0 volts and 0 volts. To find our dependent source, we just do I naught is over here. So this equation will be V1 minus 0 over 1 equals I naught. So over here, this will end up being 2 times V1. So now writing our equations, if I start from V1 over here, and I go this way, this will be V1 minus 12 over 1 for the current in the 1 kiloohm over here. Now for the current in the 1 kiloohm over here, the current will go down to V2. So V1 minus V2 over 1. And then the current for the V1 to ground, the 1 kiloohm over here, we will say that is plus V1 minus 0 over 1 equals 0. There's no other nodes there's no other components that are touching V1. This is equation 1. And now focusing on V2, from V2 to V1, the current in this will be V2 minus V1 over 1 plus V2 to 12 will be plus V2 minus 12 over 1. And then since we have a current dependent source heading towards V2, we found earlier that that is going to be 2V1, so that will end up being negative 2V1 since it's heading towards V2 equals 0. So this ends up being 3V1 minus V2 equals 12. This ends up being negative 3V1, don't forget it's because of this, plus 2V2 equals 12, and we get our V1 to be 12 volts and our V2 to be 24 volts. And since we're trying to find I naught, as we solved earlier, is equal to V1 minus 0 over 1. So I naught ends up being 12 milliamps.